In the winter of 1902, in the jagged, snow-covered mountains of the Hardanger region in Norway, lived a 12-year-old boy named Erik. His village was perched on a steep fjord, and for 5 months of the year, the world was buried under several feet of heavy, unforgiving ice. During these months, the village became a series of isolated islands. The paths between houses were so deep with snow that even the strongest men struggled to walk. Erik's family was poor, surviving on dried fish and hard bread. He watched as the elderly neighbors became trapped in their homes for weeks, unable to reach the village well or the small clinic when they fell ill. The winter was a season of silence and fear, as the deep drifts turned neighbors into strangers. Erik noticed a waste problem at the local boat-building yard near the docks. In Norway, boat makers were masters of bending wood, but they often discarded the ribs. Thin, curved strips of ashwood that were slightly cracked or uneven. These strips were considered useless debris, piled into giant mountains of scrap to be rotted by the salt spray or burned for heat. Erik also noticed a community problem. The heavy iron-toed boots the villagers wore were perfect for the rocky coast, but in the deep mountain snow, they acted like anchors, causing people to sink waist-deep with every step. The children couldn't go to school, and the village doctor couldn't reach the sick because the snow was simply too treacherous to navigate. Erik realized that the curved shape of the discarded boat ribs was actually a blessing. Because the wood had already been steamed and bent, it had a natural spring and a wide surface area. He gathered the broken ash strips and spent his nights in a drafty shed. Using old leather offcuts, he begged from a cobbler to create a flexible harness. He began to lash the curved boat ribs together in a wide, crisscross pattern, creating a lightweight frame that looked like the skeleton of a small bird's wing. He used a mixture of pine resin and beeswax to waterproof the wood. He called his invention the Fjord-Gliders, a new type of flexible snowshoe that used the strength of boat-building techniques to float on top of the drifts. On the coldest morning of February, when a fresh blizzard had completely blocked the main path to the village infirmary, Erik strapped on his gliders. While the townsmen struggled and sank, Erik glided effortlessly over the top of the white powder, carrying a satchel of medicine to an isolated cottage at the top of the hill. The sight was breathtaking to the villagers. It looked as if he was walking on the clouds. Soon, the boatyard was no longer burning its scraps. Every discarded rib was being turned into a pair of gliders for the elderly and the children. Erik had turned the trash of the sea into a bridge across the snow. He proved that even a broken piece of a ship can help you navigate a different kind of ocean, as long as you have the vision to see a path where others only see a drift.